Good morning, this is Scotty from the Gifford Group, and today I just wanted to record a new video. It shows you a little bit of update on our Divorce Buyout Calculator. We've been getting a lot of people that are using it, and we've made some changes since the last video, so we just wanted to provide a little update on how to use it. So let's jump into it. Alright, so let's jump into the calculator here. Now our calculator is going to give you three different options if you are contemplating divorce, which I think is very useful. So the first scenario is going to talk about, hey, if we are going to be selling the home, which we do recommend as kind of the safest option, is kind of the easiest way to cut ties from the house and your spouse if you are going to be going through divorce. Now the second scenario is we're going to talk about a cash out refi, which is what most lenders would recommend if you are contemplating divorce. And due to most the laws that are on the Texas Constitution, most people will tell you that's the most you can tap. And the third scenario is going to talk about the 95% buyout using the owlety lien, which most lenders don't even know about. It's kind of a hidden secret in the lending world. Now, I myself, as a divorce real estate specialist and a divorce lending specialist, we know all these things about divorce. That's why we're here to help. That's our primary focus in real estate, is to help people that are contemplating divorce so they can make informed decisions about what they need to do and what they can do and what are their options. So, and this calculator won't cover all the scenarios and all the things we need to talk about, but it will at least give you all your options as far as like what are options with buying out versus selling. So the very first thing we need to talk about is, probably if you're going to be talking about buying our spouses, you should probably get approved. So if you want to get approved, you can go ahead and, you can apply today with us, and we will see where you're at and help you walk through those and talk about all those situations. We'll have our divorce resource if you want to, download that. It has some great information in there too. But let's, for the calculator itself, let's start off with an example in here, and you can adjust these values, up or down, whatever. You can type in how much you want. But let's just stick with the numbers in there for now, just to walk you through the scenario. So you have a $500,000 home, and like we say, establishing that value is going to be very important. How do we establish the value of the home? Well, one thing we recommend as realtors is to get a CMA, a comparative market analysis. You can also get an appraisal that will be ordered. Now, if you are going to be talking about ordering an appraisal, I would recommend that you actually get pre-qualified and talk to a lender and then order that appraisal through your lender. Now, we can help you with that. I am I'm a mortgage loan officer here in the state of Texas, but our company is licensed through 40 different states. So if you need help anywhere throughout the country, we can help with that. So those are two ways we recommend, but if you don't have those right now and you're just kind of using the calculator and you want to help us establish those values for you, reach out to us, see if we can help. But let's just walk through the scenario, saying it's a $500,000 home, say it's provided by the CMA. And we know the current mortgage, which is going to be very important. And then there's questions we would talk to you about. Are you on the mortgage? Is just your spouse? All those other questions, right? But so it's a $250,000 mortgage. And then I'll give you the ability to add or actually take away from the other equity of the home. If you had like a car you guys are going to be paying off, So anyways, so here's your total equity of the home, 500,000 minus the 250 is your 250 left over, and then each half of it is 125. So that's what most people tell you. Hey, we got $125,000 of equity. Wrong. We can't ever tap 100% of the home's equity, no matter what. So if we go through those two scenarios, we're selling, we're cashing out, or we're buying out. Realistically, we'll never be able to tap 100% of the home's equity ever. So that's not really a good estimate. So what we try to do is to take into account some of those extra fees. And kind of at the very top, I kind of give you a quick rundown that says, hey, this is a total equity at 80%. This is a total equity at 95%. And that tells you, hey, that's an extra $75,000 that you can tap if you wanted to tap, to pay, to give out spouse, to pay bills or whatever, right? So it just shows you right away, hey, how much equity can we tap? And if you want to get any of the results emailed to you, you can just put an email here. It'll send you a copy with everything in here. So, and we talk about selling the home and splitting the equity. Now, what we recommend is kind of the safest bet, but we understand some people want to keep the home, and we understand it's an emotional and a financial decision that is going to be made. So we want to take those things into account and give you those options because we want you to make informed decisions when you're talking about divorce. We are here as a neutral party. We can talk to both spouses. We can work with their attorneys. We work with attorneys on a weekly basis. So this is our primary focus is about divorce and real estate. So if you are going to be selling, you can expect about 5 or 6% for realtor fees. At the Gifford Group, we charge 6% usually, and then you can expect about 1 to 2% in closing cost. So we kind of put it in there as about 0.75 or 0.75 percentage of the total. So that's the $500,000 of the value, kind of a good quick guesstimate. Well, is it exact? No, but it at least gives you a quick estimate right off the hand, so you can say, okay, what are my costs to sell? And then that tells you, okay, that shows you the total equity, and then each to the out spouse. So the 106 is much different than the 125, right? Like here right away, we're not tapping. There's a lot less equity because of these fees, right? So if you are thinking about selling, you can reach out to Amber or myself. We can have that discussion, see what that's like. Now, if you're talking about buying out, and this is what most people will say, hey, I want to do cash out. I'm going to buy out my spouse. That's actually what I did in my situation when I went through my divorce, because I didn't know about the owlety lien. I didn't know about tapping more of the equity. I thought for sure 80%. Hey, that's the most we can tap, right? So in my case, that's kind of what I did. But I'm here for you today, so hopefully I'm going to tell you something you didn't know. But it's typically, this fees to do a new loan, you can expect anywhere from 2 to 5%. Obviously, if it's say a $500,000 loan, it'd be closer to 2%. If it's a $200,000 loan, it'd probably be closer to 5%. Just because those, it just depends on the size of the loan and everything that's included in there. You're buying on points, all that stuff like that. So once again, I give you the ability to kind of adjust those fees if need be, but it's probably going to be between 2 to 2.5% at the $500,000 loan range. So we can just use that for now. We'll say 2.5%. So you can see, hey, that's $12,500 in fees, which now reduces the total equity in the home from the 125 from above, right? So now we're down to $112,000. So, and this is kind of cool. So the calculator says, okay, what's 80% of the 500,000? That's 400,000 is the most amount of money that you could tap, right, on the 80%. So this says, okay, of that equity, since I can only tap 400,000 once I pay off my other mortgage and my fees, half of the equity that we can access would be about $68,000 to the out spouse. So that's in my situation. If this, I wasn't exactly, the numbers weren't mine, but like say if I had a $500,000 house and we had a $250,000 mortgage, and I was like, hey, I'll go to my ex-wife. I go like, you want to keep the house? It's fine. You can refinance it, but I want half my equity. Well, this is how much half would have been. Would have been $68,000 that I would have walked away with. Not bad, but nowhere near the $125,000 I was thinking, right? Well, I mean, that's half of what I thought I was going to get because of the 80% rule. And it tells you, hey, how much is left in there. You can, people have called and say, hey, what about if I have to take away some fees that were outside of that or whatever? So it allows you to do that. So this number, this is the new mortgage that'd be required for you to give your out spouse. This amount of equity plus the fees plus paying off the old mortgage. The minimum new mortgage at the 80% would be about $331,000. Now I also have another calculator that talks about how much do I have to make to be able to afford this? Is it affordable? So you can kind of put in the mortgage, see how much a payment is, and then it tells you how much you need to make to be able to pay for that. So we're just here to try to provide information to people because it's very confusing. There's a lot of things that go into it, but at least we want to give you a good starting point. And so when you call us, you maybe have a good starting off point of what you want to do. And if not, we can obviously walk you through the whole thing. So now let's jump down to the secret part that, most people don't even know about, which is tapping 95% of the home's equity. So taking that same $500,000 home, we can tap up to, $475,000 of that home's equity, which then, so if we have the same fees, we're saying that it's $12,500, gives us the equity split 212, which is 106 now. So now we can give equity of 106. We can also, we can give the 125 if they really want that whole half of it, because we have the whole 212. But we kind of recommend like you're splitting and split. So we usually kind of start with this number. You guys can negotiate whatever you want, but this is kind of the number we would say hey, this is the number that we think is kind of half of the equity, right? So the 106. Still a little less than the 125, but if you notice, it is very close to what if you want to sell, right? Look at that number, 106.25. If you go to sell, 106.25 if you tap 95% of the home's equity. So very close, or if in this case exactly the same, number that you get as an estimate of amount of equity. Obviously, the fees of either one selling or refinancing could be a little bit different, but like in this example, they're pretty much the same. And so it gives you, if your spouse wants to keep the home, well, then there you go. You still get the same amount of equity with allowing them to stay in the home. So this is kind of run through a couple more things here. This is the new mortgage that be required if you were given to give them the 106 plus your fees plus paying off the old mortgage. That's kind of like the amount of new mortgage you would need. And so, like I said, once again, if you wanted to go check out, how much you could actually afford, you can go over to our home resources. Open up the mortgage calculator, and we did a whole video on the mortgage calculator just recently about how you can walk through that. So thank you for sticking around and watching our walkthrough video on how to use our Divorce Buyout Calculator. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, you can put your comments down below, and I will try to always respond to those. If you want to schedule a call with us, you can go to thegiffordgroup.net/contact us, which you can find if you click on the website, no problem. And you can actually schedule a free 45-minute consultation with us that we can go over your situation and help you, figure out your options if you are going through divorce. So all that, I hope you have a good day, and thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe.